Hey guys, Gary J here, and Gary J's cooking today. This is January the 2nd, 2023 of our new year. So usually I cook soup like this once a year, and it's in the wintertime. And then I'll use these plastic containers to make separate portions of that. And also made a cornbread here, and I add a tad of sugar to the cornbread, not much. It'll give it a tad of a sweet taste, and this is basically a simple cornbread mix. You add 1/3 cup of milk and 1 egg to this, and stir it up really good. Add a touch of sugar to it. You could add a touch of vanilla if you wanted to, and cook it for about 15 to 20 minutes till it gets kind of golden brown like this. And so that's pretty quick to do with that. Again, it took about an hour and a half to cook this soup right here. And this is kind of a larger pot. I forgot how many quarts this is, but this is my hand here, so it's decent size. And so in here, I just use 1 can of peas, 1 can of corn, 1 can of okra, 1 can of carrots, and for the potatoes, I used I bought a large can of potatoes. I couldn't find a smaller one, so I just kind of cut those up enough until you could see them like this right here. I like a lot of potatoes in these soups right here. They kind of absorb all the flavor and stuff from the juices. And I mentioned, I think, the large can which is about twice the size of a regular can of tomato sauce. So you got to have that tomato in there. And then cook it. When you're about almost through cooking it, that's when, to me, is the best time to add your seasoning to it. So then I take salt, add salt to it, and stir it up and taste it, and give it time to, cook there till it dissolves, that salt. And keep adding salt till you get that salty taste that you like. Not too salty, but just a little bit of salt taste on it. And then I want to make it a little bit hot. And I use this stuff right here. A good friend of mine who was a chef bought me a couple of bottles of this, different types. And this is food products here. And got this rooster right here. Well, maybe you can read that. Yeah, that looks definitely Chinese writing. Anyway, I've had this stuff. You see right here, Baraka hot chili sauce. It has a unique taste to it. It doesn't taste like Tabasco sauce or banana pepper or red pepper sauce or something like that. It doesn't taste like jalapenos. It's got its own unique taste to it. If you eat some of the Cajun type spices, some of those have a very unique taste to them that you know it when you eat it. It's got that particular taste. This stuff is really hot. It only takes a few drops, but I put a good bit of that in here. I don't like stuff too hot, but when you're almost through cooking it, that's when you're going to add your salt and make sure it has time to melt that salt, and add your sauce right here, whatever kind of hot sauce you want, to try to give it a little bit of heat. I don't like it too hot. Some people like them hot. I don't. And use vinegar. This is apple cider vinegar here. And again, when it's almost through cooking, that's when you want to add your spices and stuff, because otherwise you kind of cook them kind of bland if you add them too soon. So adding the vinegar, I keep adding the vinegar to it. I get that vinegary taste. I like that vinegary taste and the hot sauce taste. And once you get that just right, let it simmer just a little bit, and cook through the meat and everything else. And keep stirring it. Which, when you're making soup like this in a bigger pot, you're going to have to use a spatula and keep stirring it so it doesn't stick or burn on the bottom. And I'm cooking it on pretty much low. Once it starts simmering, I put it on low. Okay, so about an hour and a half to make this kind of soup. And that's 1 can of everything except the tomato sauce is really about 2 cans. And most of the time I use tomatoes that are cut up, but this is a crushed tomato. See how large this can is right here? This is a regular can right here. That's the egg I use for the muffins over here. But this is really good, especially, you got all your vegetables here. You got meat here. You got everything that you really want. And you got some bread here in Georgia, middle Georgia. We like bread on everything, with everything. And we like meat with everything. We're not, a lot of us in Georgia are not vegetarians. If you don't put meat on the table, we can't eat anything. You got to have meat on the table. So this is kind of a conglomeration, a compilation of everything a little bit. And you could have lima beans in here, and you could have ham in here too, and a few other things or shrimp too, make it like a gumbo type thing. But this is the way I like to do it. The way I was taught when I was very young as a kid. So maybe this will give you some ideas, and try out this sauce right here. A chef gave me this one time, gave me 2 bottles, different types of this stuff, and it's lasted me for over 15 years. Those 2 bottles, I'm just about getting down on the end of it here. And the vinegar sauce really makes a big difference. So just want to say, guys, if you're making a soup or something like that, it ought to be nutritious for you too. And if you got kids and stuff and small ones, it should be really good. Now, with kids, you can't put too much hot sauce or too much vinegar in it. They're not going to like that probably. But, for adults, this is the way I make it. Hope that gives you a little idea. Hope y'all have a wonderful and blessed New Year's in 2023. Well, we'll put some of this soup in our bowl here. And then our cornbread here. Now, we like to put our cornbread like this here in Georgia a lot of times, because we're just going to kind of mix it all together. And it's going to be really good that way. Okay, time for a good meal. Thanks for watching. Gary J.